I'm sitting at my dining room table, staring at an envelope that contains $280,000, the entire sum from selling my house, 17 years of mortgage payments, a lifetime of memories, all reduced to a single cashier's check with my name on it. Celeste Kingsley. My fingers rest on the envelope's edge. The paper feels expensive, official, final. Through the window, I can see the sold sign still planted in my front yard, swaying slightly in the October breeze. This house watched my children grow up. It watched me grow old. And now, in 3 days, the keys go to a young couple who'll probably tear out my kitchen and paint over the walls where I marked Theodore and Grace's heights every birthday. But that's not what has my stomach in knots right now. It's the 2 people who just pulled into my driveway. 40 minutes late, as usual. Theodore's black Audi, the one with the monthly payment that costs more than my grocery budget, parks at an angle, taking up too much space. He steps out first, all 6 feet of him in a tailored suit that probably cost what I used to make in a month of nursing. At 42, my son has his father's strong jawline, but none of Robert's warmth in his eyes. Then Marissa emerges from the passenger side. Even from here, I can see the designer label on her handbag. Her dress is that particular shade of green that whispers money, not the kind you earn, but the kind you expect. She's 38, but could pass for 30, thanks to what she casually calls just good skincare, but what Grace insists are regular Botox appointments. They're talking as they walk up my path. Marissa gestures with her perfectly manicured hands, coral polish today, and Theodore nods along like one of those bobblehead dolls. He's agreeing with her before they even get through my door. That should have been my first warning. I smooth down my blouse, Walmart, 3 years old but clean, and stand to greet them. "Mom!" Theodore's smile doesn't quite reach his eyes as he kisses my cheek. "Sorry we're late. Traffic on the 405 was a nightmare." It's Sunday, at 2 in the afternoon. There's never traffic. "Mother Kingsley," Marissa air kisses near my face, her perfume overwhelming in my small living room. "Your home looks so cozy. I'm going to miss visiting here." The way she says cozy, I know she means small, cramped, insufficient. "Where's Grace?" Theodore asks, looking around. "She'll be here any minute. Sit down, both of you. I made coffee." As I pour, Maxwell House, nothing fancy, I watch them settle at my dining room table, the same table where we ate countless dinners, where I helped Theodore with his engineering homework, where Grace and I laughed over inside jokes that only mothers and daughters share, where in less than 5 minutes, my entire world will shatter. Let me take you back. Back to when I was 32 years old, standing in a county courthouse in a white dress that cost $40, marrying Robert Kingsley, the most honest man I'd ever met. Robert was a contractor, not the kind who builds mansions in Beverly Hills, but the kind who shows up when he says he will, whose handshake means something, who believes a fair day's pay for a fair day's work isn't just an expression, but a way of life. We were happy in a way I didn't know was possible, happy in a rented apartment with secondhand furniture, happy eating spaghetti 3 nights a week, because that's what we could afford, happy planning for a future we were building together, brick by brick. Theodore came first. Born on a Tuesday morning in March, screaming his lungs out, all 8 pounds of indignation at being forced into the world. I was 26, terrified, completely unprepared for the tsunami of love that hit me the moment they placed him in my arms. "He's perfect," Robert whispered, tears streaming down his face. "Celeste, we made something perfect." 3 years later, Grace arrived, quieter than her brother, but with these eyes, these knowing, ancient eyes, that seemed to see straight through to your soul. Where Theodore demanded, Grace observed. Where Theodore pushed, Grace waited. We weren't rich. God, we were so far from rich. But we were building something. Robert's business was growing. I'd gone back to nursing part-time at Riverside Community Hospital. We were saving for a down payment on a house. The American dream, right? Then, on a Thursday afternoon when Theodore was 19 and Grace was 16, Robert collapsed on a job site in Pasadena. Massive heart attack. The paramedics said he was probably dead before he hit the ground. He was 47 years old. I remember the hospital waiting room, the same hospital where I'd worked for years, sitting there in my nurse's scrubs because they'd called me straight from my shift. I remember Grace holding my hand, silent tears running down her face. I remember Theodore pacing, pacing. His jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. I remember the doctor, my colleague, someone I'd eaten lunch with 100 times, walking out with that look on his face, the one you never want to see. And I remember thinking, this is it. This is where everything ends. But I was wrong. It wasn't where things ended. It was where I learned exactly how strong I could be. The funeral cost $4,000. We had $1,800 in savings. I sold my wedding ring, the one Robert had saved 6 months to buy, to a pawn shop for $500. The rest went on a credit card with an interest rate that should have been criminal. The night after the funeral, I sat at this very table with bills spread out in front of me like accusation letters. Rent due, utilities, Theodore's college tuition for the fall semester, Grace's school expenses, groceries, everything. The numbers didn't add up. No matter how many times I did the math, we were drowning. Theodore appeared in the kitchen doorway, his eyes red and swollen. "Mom, I can drop out. Work full time. Help with—" "No." My voice came out harder than I intended. "Your father wanted you to get that engineering degree. You're getting it. But no buts, Theodore. I'll figure it out." And I did. The way women like me always do. We just handled it. I took every extra shift the hospital would give me. Days, nights, weekends. I worked so many hours that I started keeping a spare uniform in my car because sometimes I'd go straight from one shift to another without going home. Grace learned to cook. By 16, she could stretch a pound of ground beef into 3 meals. She took care of Theodore, made sure he got to his classes, did her own homework at midnight because that's when she had time. I sold everything that wasn't nailed down. My mother's pearl necklace. Robert's tools. I cried over those for a week. The nice camera he'd bought me for our 5th anniversary. I ate once a day, maybe. Sometimes I'd pretend I'd already eaten at the hospital so Theodore and Grace could have seconds. I told myself the hunger was just part of the deal, the price of motherhood. For 5 years, I lived in a fog. Work, bills, sleep for 4 hours. Repeat. Then, when I was 50, a miracle happened. My father's sister, Aunt Martha, who I'd only met twice, passed away in Arizona. Her lawyer called to tell me she'd left me $30,000. I sat on my kitchen floor and sobbed for an hour. $30,000. Not a fortune, not life-changing money for most people. But for me, it was the difference between drowning and breathing. It was enough for a down payment on a small house on the outskirts of Riverside. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen the size of a closet, and a yard you could cross in 10 steps. But it was mine. Completely, totally mine. I spent the next 17 years paying off that mortgage. Not a single late payment. Not one. Even when my car broke down and I had to choose between the repair and the mortgage. Even when I got pneumonia and missed 2 weeks of work. Even when every bone in my body screamed for rest. I paid it off 2 years before I retired. The day I made that final payment, I sat in the bank parking lot and cried again. But this time, they were different tears. This house watched Theodore graduate summa cum laude from Cal Poly. It watched him get hired by Morrison Engineering with a salary that made my eyes water. It watched Grace get her accounting degree and open her own small practice. This house watched me keep my promise. My children were professionals. They had futures. They had more than I ever did. I had done it. Against all odds, I had done it. Grace arrives 10 minutes after Theodore and Marissa, slightly out of breath. "Sorry, Mom. Client called with a tax emergency." She hugs me tight, and I feel her whisper against my ear. "You okay?" I nod, but my daughter knows me too well. She sees the tension in my shoulders. Theodore barely looks up from his phone. "Hey, sis." "Theodore, Marissa." Grace's voice is cooler than usual. She's never liked Marissa, though she's too polite to say it outright. We all sit down at the table. The envelope sits in the center like a grenade with the pin pulled. The silence stretches. Marissa examines her nails. Theodore checks his phone. Grace watches me with worried eyes. I take a breath and begin. "Thank you both for coming. I wanted to talk about the money from the house sale." I place my hand on the envelope. $280,000. This represents, well, it represents my whole life, really. Theodore's phone goes face down on the table. Now I have his attention. "I've thought a lot about this, and I want to be fair to everyone." I look at each of them in turn. "I'm proposing that I keep $140,000 for my retirement, for medical expenses, for rent on an apartment, for security in my old age. The other $140,000 I'll split between you two. $70,000 each. I pause, waiting for acknowledgement, for gratitude, for understanding. What I get instead makes my blood run cold. Theodore's face flushes red. His hands resting on the table curl into fists. Marissa's perfectly painted smile freezes, then cracks like ice over a winter pond. 140,000? Theodore's voice is low, controlled. For you? Theodore, I'm 67 years old. What do you need it for? He leans forward and there's something in his eyes I've never seen before. Something hard. You get Social Security, $800 a month. That's plenty for rent and groceries. Theodore! Grace's voice sharp. Are you seriously? I'm being realistic, Grace. He doesn't take his eyes off me. Mom doesn't need that much. She's always been fine with less. Haven't you, Mom? You've always managed. The words hit me like a slap. Marissa places her hand on Theodore's arm, not a calming gesture, but one of support, of solidarity. Mother Kingsley, her voice has lost its sugary coating, revealing something metallic underneath. Theodore promised me. When we got married 5 years ago, he promised me we'd have our own home. A real home, not that cramped apartment we're in now. She's leaning forward now, earnest, desperate. I gave up my career for him. I could have made partner at my marketing firm, but I quit to support Theodore's career. We have sacrifices too, you know. I feel like I'm in a dream, a nightmare. I'm not saying you haven't made sacrifices, Marissa. I'm just saying, we found a condo. Theodore cuts me off. His voice is rising now. On Central Avenue, beautiful building. Pool, gym, parking for 2 cars. It's $150,000. My stomach drops. With your half and a little more, he continues, his words coming faster. We could buy it. Finally have something of our own. Finally start our lives properly. Start your lives? Grace's voice trembles with fury. Theodore, you're 42 years old. You have a job, a car, everything you need. Mom has nothing but this money. She has Social Security. Theodore slams his hand on the table, making the envelope jump. She has guaranteed income every single month. We don't have that security. My job could end tomorrow. We need this, Grace. We need it more than she does. I stare at my son, my firstborn, the baby I held through countless nights, the boy I sacrificed everything for, and I don't recognize him. Theodore, my voice shakes, but I force it steady. I'm not giving you my share of the money. $70,000 is generous. More than generous. It's more than I ever had at your age. Maybe that's the problem. Theodore explodes, standing up so fast his chair nearly tips backward. Maybe you're so used to having nothing that you can't understand what it means to want more, to deserve more. Theodore! Grace is on her feet too, but I can't move. I'm frozen, watching this stranger wearing my son's face. He's breathing hard, his face purple with rage. And then he does something I never thought possible. He reaches across the table and snatches the envelope from under my hands. The motion is so violent, so sudden, that my knuckles scrape against the wood. I feel skin tear, see a smear of blood on the table. No! Theodore shouts, clutching the envelope to his chest like a drowning man grabbing a life preserver. I promised my wife I'd buy her a condo a long time ago. I promised her, Mom! Don't you understand that a promise is a promise? His face is distorted, by rage, by frustration, by something I don't recognize in my child. You have Social Security. You'll manage. You always manage. Grace lunges for him, tries to grab the envelope back, but Theodore shoves her, hard. My daughter stumbles backward, her hip hitting the corner of the table, then slams into the wall. A framed photo crashes to the floor, the one of Robert holding baby Theodore, both of them laughing. The glass shatters. Everything stops. I'm staring at my empty hands on the table, at the drop of blood from my scraped knuckle, at the broken frame on the floor, at my daughter pressed against the wall, shock written across her face, at my son stuffing my future into his jacket pocket, and at Marissa standing beside him with an expression that chills me to my core. She's not surprised, not shocked, not horrified by her husband's violence. She looks satisfied, like this is exactly what she wanted, exactly what she planned. Theodore is right, Mother Kingsley. Her voice is calm, almost cheerful. You're strong. You've always been strong. We need this money more than you do. It's really that simple. Theodore's breathing is heavy as he backs toward the door. We're going to the real estate office tomorrow morning. Monday, 10 o'clock. We're buying that condo. His voice drops lower, dangerous. And when we do, when we finally have something of our own, maybe you'll understand that I did the right thing, that this was necessary. Give me back my money. My voice sounds distant to my own ears. Cold. Right now, Theodore, or I'm calling the police. He laughs. Actually laughs. It's a sound I've never heard from him before. Cruel, bitter alien. And tell them what, Mom? That your son took money from your house sale? The money you were supposedly going to split with us anyway? He steps closer. They'll see a confused old woman trying to accuse her own family. They'll see a family matter, not a crime. He leans down until his face is inches from mine. Besides, do you really want to destroy your own son? Want me to have a criminal record? Want to ruin my life over money? Let's go, honey. Marissa takes his arm. We've done what we came to do. She looks at Grace with contempt. Enjoy taking care of Mommy now that she's left with nothing. Seems like that's what you always wanted anyway. Then she looks at me one last time. Don't worry, Mother Kingsley. When we have our condo, you can come visit. If you behave. And they walk out. Just like that. My son, my baby, my firstborn, the child I starved myself for, walks out of my house with $280,000 stuffed in his jacket. I hear his car start. Hear it back out of my driveway. Hear the engine fade into the distance. The silence that follows is absolute. Grace runs to me, pulls me into her arms. Mom, I'm so sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. We're calling the police right now. Right now. But I can't move. Can't think. Can only feel the weight of the envelope that's no longer in my hands. The weight of betrayal. The weight of having raised a son capable of this. No, I whisper. What? Grace pulls back, tears streaming down her face. I look at her, and something that's been dormant inside me for years, something hard and cold and calculating, wakes up. No, I say again, louder. We're not calling the police. Mom, he robbed you. He stole everything. Not yet. I stand up, surprisingly steady. Walk to the window. Theodore's car is long gone, but I can still see it in my mind. See his face. See Marissa's satisfaction. I turn back to my daughter. Your brother just made the biggest mistake of his life. He thought that because I'm old, I'm helpless. Because I love him, I'm weak. A smile touches my lips. Not a happy smile. The smile of a woman who just realized she's been playing by the wrong rules. He was wrong, Grace. So very wrong. What are you going to do? I look at my phone on the counter. I'm going to call William Pierce, your father's lawyer, the one who handled the estate. And then? And then, I say softly, I'm going to teach your brother a lesson I should have taught him years ago. I'm going to show him that his mother didn't survive 45 years in this world by being naive. I pick up my phone. Your brother thinks he's buying a condo on Monday morning, but what he doesn't know is that condo will never be his. Grace stares at me with a mix of worry and admiration. Mom, what exactly are you planning? I meet her eyes. Justice, sweetheart. I'm planning justice. I don't sleep that night. Grace insists on staying, sleeping on my couch, or rather not sleeping on my couch, because I can hear her tossing and turning through my bedroom door. But I need her here. Not for protection exactly, but for witness. For someone to remind me that what happened was real, not some fever dream brought on by exhaustion and disbelief. At 2 a.m., I'm sitting at my kitchen table with a cup of tea gone cold in my hands, the same table where Theodore grabbed my future. There's still a small blood stain on the wood where my knuckle scraped. I haven't cleaned it yet. Some part of me needs to see it, needs the evidence. Grace appears in the doorway, wrapped in her old high school sweatshirt. Mom, you need to rest. I can't. I stare at the blood stain. Every time I close my eyes, I see his face. The way he looked at me, Grace. Like I was nothing. Like everything I did for him meant nothing. She sits down across from me, takes my hands. What he did. Mom, it's not about you. It's about him. About whatever broke inside him. I should have seen it coming. How? How could you possibly have known your own son would... Her voice cracks. She can't finish the sentence. We sit in silence for a long moment. Then Grace says something that changes everything. "Mom, I recorded it." I look up. "What?" She pulls out her phone, hands trembling slightly. When Theodore started getting aggressive, something told me to start recording. I kept my phone low, by my side, but she swipes, taps, then turns the screen toward me. And there it is, all of it. Theodore's face, purple with rage. His voice saying those words. "You have Social Security, you'll manage." The moment he lunges across the table, my scraped knuckles, Grace stumbling into the wall, the photo frame shattering, Marissa's face, satisfaction written across it like a signature, every single second. "Grace," I whisper, "this is evidence," she says firmly. "This is proof. He can't claim it was a misunderstanding now. He can't say you're confused or that this was just a family disagreement." I stare at the frozen image on the screen. Theodore, envelope clutched to his chest, his face transformed into someone I don't know. That cold, calculating part of me. The part that kept me alive through Robert's death, through 5 years of working myself to the bone, through 17 years of mortgage payments, clicks into place like a lock finding its key. "We need William Pierce," I say. "Now." At 7 a.m. Saturday morning, I call William. He answers on the third ring, voice thick with sleep. "Celeste, is everything all right? Did something happen?" William Pierce has been our family lawyer since Robert died. More than that, he was Robert's best friend. The man who held me up at the funeral when my legs wouldn't work. The man who handled Robert's estate for free because that's what friends do. "William, I need you. Today. It's urgent." There's a pause. William knows me well enough to understand that I don't use the word urgent lightly. "Give me an hour. I'll bring coffee." When William arrives, he's carrying a tray of Starbucks and wearing the concerned expression of a man who's about to hear something terrible. He's 63 now, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, wearing weekend jeans but with the briefcase that never leaves his side. "All right, Celeste, tell me what happened." Grace and I have prepared everything. The video queued up on her phone, bank statements showing the house sale, the envelope, or rather the description of what was in the envelope before Theodore took it. William watches the video 3 times. Each time his expression gets harder, more professional, less friend, more attorney. When it finishes the 3rd time, he sets the phone down carefully, as if it might explode. "This is robbery," he says flatly, "theft by force, and elder abuse, financial abuse of a senior citizen." He looks at me directly. "You can press criminal charges. With this video, he'd be arrested, prosecuted, and likely convicted. He could go to prison for 3 to 5 years. The words hang in the air like smoke. Prison, my son, Theodore. "Is that what you want?" William asks gently. I think about Theodore as a baby, screaming in my arms. As a boy, running to me when he skinned his knee. As a teenager at his father's funeral, trying so hard to be brave. As a young man in his graduation cap, hugging me and whispering, "I did it because of you, Mom. All because of you." Then I think about the man who shoved my daughter into a wall. "I don't want to destroy him," I say slowly. "But I want my money back. And I want him to learn that actions have consequences." I look at William. "Can we do that without sending him to prison?" William nods, already thinking. I can see the wheels turning behind his eyes. "We can, but we need to move fast." "You said he's planning to go to the real estate office Monday morning?" 10 a.m. to buy a condo on Central Avenue. "Good. Then we have the weekend." He opens his laptop. "Here's what we're going to do." The next several hours are a blur of phone calls, documents, and strategy. William explains the plan step by step. First, we file a police report, not necessarily to prosecute, at least not yet, but to create an official record. This will flag any large transactions Theodore tries to make with that money. Second, I'll get an emergency asset protection order from the on-call judge. With this video as evidence and your testimony, Judge Moreno will sign it. She's tough on elder abuse cases. Third, I call your bank. Riverside Federal, right? I nod. I'll inform them the check was stolen. Any attempt to deposit it gets blocked and reported immediately. I'll also request a temporary freeze on your account for security. And fourth, William's expression is grim. We'll be at that real estate office Monday morning when Theodore tries to make his purchase. Waiting for him. Grace leans forward. What happens then? Then your brother gets a choice. Return the money immediately, and Celeste decides whether to proceed with criminal charges, or refuse, and Officer Bennett, he's already dialing, will arrest him on the spot. I watch William work. He's a force of nature when he's focused. Calls to the police station, calls to Judge Patricia Moreno's clerk, calls to the bank manager who he apparently plays golf with. Grace makes her own call to the real estate office, pretending to be a buyer interested in the same property. She confirms the appointment. Monday, 10 a.m., Theodore and Marissa Kingsley. Perfect, William says when she reports back. Everything's lining up. That evening, Grace asks the question I've been avoiding. Mom, are you sure about this? We could still just... Call him. Ask him to return the money. Maybe if you appeal to him one more time. I already tried appealing to him, honey. My voice is quiet but firm. I tried reasoning. I tried talking about fairness, about my needs, about basic human decency. He responded by taking what wasn't his and hurting you in the process. I look at my daughter, my youngest, who has always been too kind, too forgiving. Some people don't learn until they face real consequences. Theodore needs to learn that I'm not someone who can be bullied or manipulated, that I deserve respect. Grace nods slowly. You're right. I know you're right. It's just... He's my brother. I know, sweetheart. He's my son. I take her hand. But that doesn't give him the right to steal from me. Love shouldn't mean letting people destroy you. Sunday night, I don't even try to sleep. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, mentally preparing for tomorrow. I think about all the times I was too soft on Theodore, all the excuses I made for his behavior. He's just ambitious. He's under pressure. He means well. Boys will be boys. How many red flags did I ignore? How many warning signs did I explain away because I didn't want to see the truth? Those days are over. At 7 a.m. Monday morning, I dress with deliberate care. A simple navy blouse, gray slacks, low heels, my hair pulled back in a neat bun, light makeup, just enough to look put together, not defeated. I want to look like what I am, a woman who has worked her entire life, who deserves respect, who will not be stripped of her dignity by anyone, not even her own child. William arrives at 7:30 sharp, carrying his briefcase and an expression that could cut glass. He's in full attorney mode now, suit tie, game face on. Ready? He asks. I nod. Let's go get my money back. The Riverside Police Station at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning is surprisingly busy. William guides us to the front desk, where a tired-looking officer named Daniel Torres listens to our story. I need to see this video, he says. Grace hands over her phone. Officer Torres watches it once, his jaw tightening with each passing second. When Theodore shoves Grace, Torres actually flinches. Jesus, he mutters. Then louder. Ma'am, I'm very sorry you're experiencing this. No one deserves to be treated like this, especially by their own family. He rewinds it, watches certain parts again. Theodore's face when he grabs the envelope. His words. You have Social Security. You'll manage. This is clear-cut robbery with force, Torres says, looking at William. Elder financial abuse. Assault on the sister. He starts typing into his computer. I'm filing this report immediately, and I'm assigning Officer Sarah Bennett to accompany you to the real estate office. Is that necessary? I ask, feeling a flutter of fear. Not fear of Theodore exactly, but fear of what this means. How far we've come. How there's no going back from this moment. Officer Torres looks at me with eyes that have seen too much. Mrs. Kingsley, your son committed a violent act against you. We have it on video. We don't know how he'll react when he realizes his plan has been blocked. He glances at William. Better safe than sorry. At 9 a.m., we're in Judge Patricia Moreno's chambers. She's a stern woman in her mid-50s, reviewing our documents with the precision of a surgeon. She watches the video without expression. When it ends, she signs the asset protection order without hesitation. Mrs. Kingsley, she says, looking at me directly. I've seen too many cases like this. Adult children who view their elderly parents as ATMs, who take advantage of guilt, of love, of family loyalty. She slides the signed order across her desk. What you're doing takes courage. Many people don't stand up for themselves out of shame or fear of losing their family. She pauses. But let me tell you something I've learned in 20 years on the bench. A family member who abuses you has already left the family. What you're doing now is simply making it official and protecting yourself. That's not cruelty. That's survival. Her words stay with me as we drive to the real estate office. Central Avenue Realty is the kind of place that whispers money. Floor-to-ceiling windows, sleek modern furniture, young agents in expensive suits speaking in hushed, important voices. We arrive at 9:45, 15 minutes early. William goes in first, approaching the receptionist, a blonde woman in her 20s who looks like she sells million-dollar homes to tech executives. I watch through the window as William shows his identification, then slides documents across her desk. Her eyes widen. She picks up her phone, speaks urgently into it. A man in a gray suit appears quickly. The manager, I assume. There's a hushed conversation. More document reviewing. The manager looks out toward where I'm standing with Grace and Officer Bennett, his face going pale. They usher us into a private conference room in the back of the office. Sleek glass table, leather chairs. Everything designed to make you feel like you're making a smart, sophisticated decision. The manager introduces himself as Victor Sterling. He's maybe 50, with a receding hairline and hands that won't stop fidgeting. "Mrs. Kingsley," he begins, voice carefully professional. "I understand there's a legal issue with the funds that Mr. Theodore Kingsley plans to use for his purchase this morning." "That's correct," William answers before I can speak. He slides more documents across the table. "Those funds were obtained through robbery. There is an active police report and a court order blocking any transaction." William leans forward. "If this sale proceeds, Mr. Sterling, your agency could be considered an accomplice to money laundering. I assume you'd like to avoid that." Victor goes from pale to white. "Of course. Absolutely. We will not proceed with the sale." He checks his watch with trembling fingers. "Mr. Kingsley should be here in approximately 10 minutes. I'll inform him there's been a problem with the financing." Those are the longest 10 minutes of my life. We wait in that conference room, watching the clock on the wall tick by. Grace holds my hand so tightly it almost hurts. William reviews his documents for the 100th time. Officer Bennett stands by the door, alert and professional. And then, through the glass walls, I see him. Theodore walks into Central Avenue Realty at exactly 10 a.m. He's wearing his best suit, the Armani one that cost $2,000. Marissa is beside him in a pink dress and heels that probably cost more than my monthly Social Security check. They're both smiling, confident, certain they've won. Theodore carries a briefcase. My future is inside that briefcase. The receptionist says something to them, gesturing toward Victor's office. I see Theodore's smile falter slightly when he notices the police cruiser parked outside. Marissa leans in, whispers something in his ear. But it's too late to run. Too late to back out. Victor meets them in the lobby, leads them to his office, the one right next to where we're waiting. The walls are glass, supposedly soundproof, but I can hear muffled voices. "A problem with the financing," Victor is saying. "What problem?" Theodore's voice, confused, irritated. "I have the money right here, cash equivalent, the cashier's check." "That's precisely the problem, Mr. Kingsley." Victor's voice is strained. "That check is linked to an active police investigation. I cannot legally accept it as payment." Silence. Then Theodore's voice again, louder now. "What are you talking about? What investigation? This is money from my mother's house sale. She agreed to give it to me. It's completely legitimate." William stands up. "It's time. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat." Grace squeezes my hand one more time, then lets go. William opens our door and strides across the hallway. Knocks once on Victor's office door. Doesn't wait for permission. Just walks in. Grace and I follow. Officer Bennett stays in the doorway, a silent reminder that this is now a legal matter. You should have seen Theodore's face when I walked in. First, confusion, like his brain can't quite process what he's seeing. Then understanding, his eyes widening as the pieces click together. Then panic, raw and desperate, spreading across his features like ink in water. "Mom?" His voice goes up an octave. "What are you doing here? What is all this?" Marissa has frozen in her chair, staring at me like I'm a ghost. I step forward, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. "I'm taking back what's mine, Theodore. What you did Friday was robbery. And I'm not going to let you use my money I earned with years of sacrifice, to buy anything." Theodore stands so fast his chair rolls backward and hits the wall. A crime? Mom, I'm your son. This was a family disagreement. He looks wildly at Victor, at William, at Officer Bennett, searching for support. She's confused. She's elderly. Sometimes she gets confused. This is just a misunderstanding. I'm not confused. My voice is ice. And I have video evidence showing exactly what you did. It shows you snatching that envelope from my hands. It shows you shoving your sister against the wall. It shows every single word you said. I step closer, looking directly into his eyes. You said I'd manage, that I have Social Security, that you needed the money more than I did. Remember, Theodore? I watch the realization hit him. The moment he understands he was recorded, the panic becomes real fear. I didn't. Mom, I can explain. His words tumble out. I was upset. Marissa and we were under so much pressure. I wasn't thinking clearly. I didn't mean. You had 72 hours to think clearly, I interrupt. 72 hours to call me, to apologize, to return what you stole. You didn't. Instead, you scheduled this appointment to buy a condo with money you took by force. Marissa finally finds her voice. This is absolutely ridiculous. She turns on that charm, that smile that's fooled so many people. Sir, she addresses Victor, clearly this is a complicated family situation. There's no need to involve lawyers or police. We can resolve this ourselves, like adults. William steps forward, his voice cutting through the room like a blade. Mrs. Kingsley, your husband committed robbery against a senior citizen. There is video evidence. There is a formal police complaint. There is a court order blocking those funds. He pauses. This stopped being a family matter the moment your husband decided to use physical force to take what didn't belong to him. Theodore looks at me, and for a moment I see something that might be the old Theodore, the vulnerable one. Mom, please, don't do this. I'm your son. Are you really going to destroy my life over money? His voice breaks. After everything we've been through? Have you forgotten that I helped you when Dad died? That I was there for you? Something twists in my chest. That old maternal instinct, the one that wants to protect him from pain. But I push it down. You were 19 years old when your father died, Theodore. I was 45. My voice doesn't waver. I was the one who worked triple shifts. I was the one who sold my jewelry. I was the one who skipped meals so you and Grace could eat. Don't you dare rewrite history to make yourself the hero when you're the one standing here with stolen money. Officer Bennett steps forward. Mr. Kingsley, you have two options. You can return that check to your mother immediately, and she'll decide whether to press criminal charges. Or I can arrest you right now for aggravated robbery, and you can wait in a cell while this gets sorted out. The color drains from Theodore's face. Arrest? You can't. I'm not a criminal. I'm an engineer. I have a career. Do you know what an arrest would do to me? He turns desperately to Marissa. Tell them this is just a misunderstanding. And this is where everything shifts. Marissa doesn't step closer to her husband. She steps away from him, actually moves backward, creating distance, as if his proximity alone might contaminate her. I didn't know, she says, her voice rising, hysterical. I didn't know he was going to do that. I didn't know he'd take the money by force. She's grabbing her purse now, her designer bag clutched like a shield. Theodore, tell them I didn't know you were going to rob your mother. I just said we needed a place to live. I didn't tell you to commit a crime. Theodore's face, God, the betrayal written across it is almost painful to see. Marissa, what are you doing? What I should have done from the beginning. Her voice is shrill now. Getting away from this disaster. I thought this was legitimate money. I thought your mother had agreed. She turns to Victor, to William, her words coming faster. I didn't know anything about this. I'm not going to prison because my husband decided to steal from his own mother. She looks at Theodore one last time. I want a divorce. My lawyer will contact you. And she walks out, just like that, high heels clicking on the marble floor. Doesn't look back, doesn't hesitate. The silence she leaves behind is absolute. Theodore stands there, staring at the door where his wife disappeared, the briefcase with my money still clutched in his hands. I watch him process it all, the realization spreading across his face like a stain. He's lost everything, the condo, his wife, his dignity, his future, all in the span of 5 minutes. "Theodore," I say softly, "give me back the check." His hands are shaking as he opens the briefcase. He stares at the envelope for a long moment, the same envelope he ripped from my hands 3 days ago, the envelope that was supposed to be his salvation. Then, slowly, he extends it to me. I take it, hold it against my chest, feel the weight of it. "Now," William says, his voice all business, "we need to discuss the criminal charges. Mrs. Kingsley, the decision is yours. You can proceed with prosecution, which means Theodore will face trial and possible prison time. Or you can drop the charges with certain conditions." I look at my son, really look at him, see the man he's become, selfish, manipulative, willing to hurt his own mother for money. But I also see the boy he was, the child who needed me, the person who existed before greed consumed him. "I'm not pressing charges," I say. Grace's head snaps toward me. "Mom, but I have conditions." I keep my eyes on Theodore. "First, you're going to sign a legal document acknowledging what you did and waiving any claim to my money, now or in the future. Second, you're going to therapy. Not for me, for you. Because you clearly need help understanding what you've become. Third, no contact for 1 year. Not a call, not a text, not a visit, nothing. Fourth, after that year, if you've truly worked on yourself, if you've truly changed, we can try to rebuild something. But it will never be what it was. That trust is broken, Theodore. I don't know if it can ever be repaired." My voice hardens. "And fifth, if you ever try anything like this again, with me or with Grace, I will file those criminal charges immediately. Do you understand?" Theodore's face crumples. Tears stream down his cheeks. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me. The pressure, Marissa, everything. It's no excuse. I know it's not, but I'm so sorry." "I know you are," I say quietly, and I realize it's true. He is sorry. Sorry he got caught. Sorry for the consequences. But I'm not sure he's truly sorry for hurting me, and that uncertainty is enough to keep my decision firm. William produces documents from his briefcase. "Sign here, and here, and here." Theodore signs with a trembling hand. Doesn't even read what he's signing. Completely defeated. Officer Bennett speaks up. "Mr. Kingsley, technically I could still arrest you. You did commit a crime, but I'm going to respect your mother's decision." She pauses. "However, this will be on record. If there's ever another incident, this will be taken into consideration." Theodore just nods. No words left. He stands slowly, moving like a man twice his age, and walks to the door. He pauses there, looks back at me one last time. "Mom, But the words won't come. He shakes his head and leaves. I stare at the closed door, part of me wanting to run after him, to fix it, to make it okay. But I don't move. That woman, the one who fixes everything regardless of the cost, died Friday when he grabbed that envelope. I'm someone new now, someone stronger. Grace touches my shoulder. "Mom, are you okay?" I look at the envelope in my hands, my future, my security, my dignity. "I am now," I say. "Let's go home." That night I stay at Grace's apartment. She insists, and for once I don't argue. I need someone nearby, not for comfort exactly, but for witness, to confirm that what happened was real. I sit on her couch with a cup of tea I never drink, staring at the envelope that's back in my possession. $280,000. It should feel like victory. Instead, it feels like loss. "You did the right thing," Grace says for the 10th time, sitting beside me. "Then why does it feel so wrong?" "Because he's your son. Because you love him. Because even when people hurt us, it still hurts to watch them face consequences." She takes my hand. "But Mom, you gave him a choice. He made his. Now he has to live with it." William had arranged everything before we left. The check deposited into a new account with extra security protocols. The signed documents filed, the police report on record, everything legally protected. I'm safe. My money is safe. So why do I feel like I've lost everything? Around midnight, my phone rings. Unknown number. I ignore it. It rings again 5 minutes later. Then again 10 minutes after that. Finally, I check the voicemail. Mother Kingsley, Marissa's voice, but different now. No artificial sweetness, just exhaustion and something that sounds almost like honesty. I know you don't want to hear from me. I get it. But you need to know something. Something I only found out this morning. There's a pause. I hear her take a shaky breath. There is no condo, Mother Kingsley. There never was. I checked. The appointment at Central Avenue Realty? Theodore scheduled it himself. I thought we were going to look at properties. But when I called them this afternoon, after everything fell apart, they said they have no listing on Central Avenue that matches what Theodore described. My stomach drops. He made it up, the whole thing, to pressure you, to justify taking the money. Her voice cracks. But it gets worse. So much worse. Another pause. Longer this time. I went through his laptop tonight. He left it open when he went to shower. I know I shouldn't have, but Mother Kingsley, Theodore has been gambling, online poker, for 2 years. The world tilts. He's $190,000 in debt to some very dangerous people with names like V and the Collector, people who've been sending him messages, threats. I sink onto Grace's couch, phone pressed to my ear. The messages. God, the messages. You have 1 week or we visit your workplace. Your wife is very pretty. Be a shame if something happened. We know where your mother lives. Marissa's voice drops to a whisper. That's why he was so desperate. That's why he grabbed the money. It wasn't about giving me a condo. It was about staying alive. I'm not calling to make excuses for him. What he did to you was unforgivable, but I thought you should know the truth. He's not just greedy. He's in real danger. I left him tonight, filed for divorce, not because of what he did to you, though that was horrible, but because I finally saw who he'd become. The lies, the addiction, the manipulation of both of us. She pauses one final time. I'm sorry, Mother Kingsley, for my part in this, for pressuring him, for making him feel like he had to provide things we didn't need. I was part of the problem. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. The message ends. I sit in stunned silence, phone still pressed to my ear like I might hear more if I just wait long enough. Grace appears in the doorway. Mom, what's wrong? I tell her everything, every word of Marissa's confession. When I finish, Grace is pale. He's in debt to loan sharks? For gambling? $190,000. Jesus Christ, Grace paces. Mom, those people, if they threatened him, they might come after you too. We need to call the police again. Get protection. No, my voice is firm. This is Theodore's mess. He made these choices. He has to find his own way out. But Mom, no, Grace. I stand up, surprised by my own certainty. I've saved him too many times. I've sacrificed too much. If I bail him out now, he'll never learn. He'll never change. My hands are shaking, but my voice stays steady. He's a grown man. If he's truly in danger, he'll figure it out. Go to the police himself. File for bankruptcy. Ask his friends for help. Something. Anything. I look at my daughter. But he's not getting another dollar from me. Not for this. Not ever. My new apartment is on the 3rd floor of a building 20 minutes from Grace's office. 2 bedrooms, hardwood floors, and a balcony where afternoon sunlight pours through like liquid gold. I bought it for $75,000, leaving me with $205,000 still safely invested. Enough for emergencies, enough for security, enough to live with dignity. The apartment feels like a fresh start. New furniture that doesn't carry memories of Theodore's childhood. New dishes that have never served family dinners. New curtains that have never witnessed betrayal. I'm building a life that's entirely mine. My mornings start with walks in Riverside Park. I've made friends, other women my age who understand what it means to survive. Dorothy Walker from the 5th floor, a retired teacher with a wicked sense of humor, has become my confidant. You know what I love about being 68? Dorothy asks me one afternoon over coffee on my balcony. Nobody expects anything from us anymore. We can be selfish. We can set boundaries. We can say no. She raises her mug in a toast. To women who finally chose themselves. I clink my mug against hers, feeling something I haven't felt in years. Peace. Grace visits twice a week for dinner. She's met someone, James, a tax attorney with kind eyes and a gentle laugh. Watching my daughter glow when she talks about him fills me with joy I didn't think I'd feel again. "Mom," she tells me one evening, "James wants to meet you. Is that okay?" Of course it's okay. I'd love to meet him. He knows about Theodore, about what happened. I told him everything. She looks worried. I hope that's all right. Grace, you can tell the people you trust whatever you need to. I'm not ashamed of what happened. I'm proud that I stood up for myself. And I mean it. Theodore hasn't contacted me once in 6 months. True to his word, or perhaps just too ashamed to break it. Sometimes I wonder if he's safe, if he found a way out of his debt, if he's even alive. But I don't reach out. The boundaries hold. I've started a watercolor painting class at the community center. I'm terrible at it. My flowers look like colorful blobs, but I laugh more in those 2 hours than I have in years. I'm reading again. Really reading, not just skimming before bed. I'm halfway through a biography of Eleanor Roosevelt, and her words echo in my mind. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I stopped giving my consent. 3 weeks before the year mark, a letter arrives. Handwritten. Theodore's script. I'd recognize it anywhere. I hold it for 20 minutes before opening it. My hands shake slightly as I tear the envelope. Dear Mom, I know we agreed to no contact for a year. I'm mailing this now, but I wanted you to know I've respected that boundary. Every single day has been agony, but I kept my word. I'm in recovery. Not just for gambling, though yes, Marissa told you the truth about that, but for everything. The therapist says I have issues with self-worth, control, and facing consequences. She's not wrong. The gambling started after Dad died. I felt so out of control, like the world could take everything in an instant. Gambling made me feel powerful, like I could beat the odds, control my fate. But of course I couldn't. The debt grew until I was drowning. When Marissa pressured me about the condo, when the loan sharks started threatening me, I panicked. I looked at you and saw an easy solution. Money you didn't need. I convinced myself I deserved it, that I'd earned it somehow by being your son. I was wrong. So completely, horrifically wrong. The people I owed money to found out about the failed sale. They weren't kind. I had to file for bankruptcy, lost my apartment, moved in with an old college friend. I'm working as a junior engineer now, starting over at 43. But I'm alive, and I'm working on myself, not to win you back, not to get anything from you, for me. Because I finally understand that I was never the victim. I was the problem. What you did, confronting me, stopping me, saved my life. Literally. If you want to talk when the year is up, I'll be ready. If you don't, I'll understand. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry I forgot how to show it. Theodore. I read the letter 3 times, looking for manipulation, for excuses, for the old Theodore trying to work an angle. But I only find what seems like genuine pain and self-awareness. I don't respond. Not yet. The agreement was 1 year. I'll honor it. But knowing he's alive, that he's working on himself, lifts a weight I didn't know I was carrying. The coffee shop is crowded on a Tuesday morning. William Pierce sits 2 tables away, not with us, but visible. His presence steadies me. Theodore arrives exactly at 10. He's lost weight. Gray touches his temples. He wears jeans and a simple button-down, no designer labels. But the biggest change is in his eyes. The arrogance is gone. Mom, his voice cracks. Thank you for coming. He doesn't try to hug me. Sits across from me, respectful distance maintained. I'm not here to forgive you, I say immediately. I'm here to listen, to see if you've actually changed. I understand. You have every right to doubt everything I say. He tells me about his year, therapy twice a week, working with a gambling addiction counselor, attending GA meetings, living with his college friend Jake in a studio apartment in Pomona. I'm an associate engineer now, entry level, making $40,000 a year, less than half what I used to make. He manages a small smile. But I own it honestly. No debt, no lies. What about the loan sharks? Bankruptcy eliminated most of it. The rest, he hesitates. Jake helped me negotiate with them. We made payments until they backed off. I'll be paying him back for years, but he saved my life. We sit in silence for a moment. Then Theodore says something that surprises me. My therapist helped me understand something. I resented you. Resented me? For Dad dying. for having to work during college, for our poverty." His voice is thick with emotion. "I turned your sacrifice into a burden, made your needs into obstacles to my happiness. When Marissa validated that resentment, it was easier to believe her than face my own toxicity." He looks at me directly. "You didn't fail me, Mom. I failed you, and I'm so deeply sorry." "What do you want from me, Theodore?" "Nothing. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect us to go back to what we were. That's impossible. I just want you to know I'm working on being better. And if someday you want me in your life in some small way, I'll be grateful. If not, I'll respect that too." He pauses. "Your peace is more important than my redemption." I study my son, see both the man he is and the boy he was. I'm willing to try something small. Coffee once a month, no expectations. But Theodore, if I see you slipping back into old patterns, I'm done. No second chances. I understand. Thank you, Mom. I won't waste this. I hope not, because I'm okay now. I have my home, my friends, my peace. I will not sacrifice that for anyone, not even you. We stay for an hour, talk about safe things, his job, my painting class, Grace's engagement to James. When we say goodbye, Theodore offers his hand. Just a handshake. I take it briefly, a small gesture that means everything and nothing. 1 year after that first coffee meeting, I'm sitting on my balcony watching the sunset paint the city in shades of gold and purple. Theodore and I have had coffee monthly. Slow progress. He's kept his promises. Therapy, honest work, no gambling. The trust isn't back, but there's possibility. Grace married James in the spring. I helped plan the wedding. Seeing my daughter radiant in white, starting a life built on respect and honesty, felt like redemption. Dorothy visits most afternoons. We've started a book club with 3 other women from the building. We drink wine and argue about plot points and laugh until our sides hurt. I think about that day, the day Theodore snatched the envelope from my hands, the day I could have crumbled, could have let him win, could have sacrificed myself one more time. But I didn't. Theodore thought he could take my dignity along with my money. He was wrong. What he actually did was show me I was stronger than I ever believed, that I deserved respect, that self-love wasn't selfishness, but survival. He lost everything that day. I gained myself. Now, at 68 years old, I finally understand something fundamental. I don't need to be the perfect, endlessly sacrificing mother. I just need to be Celeste, a woman who worked her whole life, loved deeply, was betrayed terribly, and chose her own dignity above all else. My son may never fully redeem himself. My daughter is building her own happiness. And me? I'm finally, truly free.